Director General at Market Infrastructure and Payments, ECB, with us today. Ulrich, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Eileen, and good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining to the session. I see we have 500 people almost. That is fantastic. And yeah, I will just give an overview looking back first and then looking a bit forward, but really as an appetizer to the main presentations that follow afterwards. Yeah. So let me start with let's say looking back at our achievements, if I may call them like this. So we, as you know, as every central bank, we started, or we offer an RTGS system that we did as of the start of the euro. It was at the very core of the integration of those several, monetary areas into one, the interlinking of the domestic RTGS systems in Target and Target 2. Then came T2S, and what has been ongoing now for the last years was something called ongoing in terms of new developments, was something called Vision 2020 in 2015. It was a set of initiatives which was called like that, and I guess that Vision 2020 was meant also to indicate that by 2020 some of those things should be working. And actually, yeah, it took a bit longer, partially even for all of the initiatives. And to remind, there were three key initiatives which were bundled under this Vision 2020 name. That was the consolidation project, which encompasses Target 2 and T2S. And then there was the instant payment system TIPS, which went live. That one went live even before 2020, so it went live in 2018. And then the last and still to go live of the three is ECMS. Will go live, as has been announced, has been confirmed for 16th of June, very soon, which will replace the 20 still existing individual NCB collateral management systems. So yeah, we are not, I wouldn't say in the middle, we are very close to the very end of the implementation of those three components. And I think it's fair to say they all, two of them which went live have fully met their expectations. So the idea of TIPS to settle in central bank money for instant payments, which are deemed to be the new normal for retail payment, was very successful and has been, I think, also looked at by other central banks around the world, who then followed this example, like FedNow in the US somewhat later. And the consolidation project T2, T2S not only brought a synergy between those two services, some common components, but also allowed or encompassed the redesign of the RTGS system, which is now called T2 instead of Target 2, as it was called in the years beforehand. And so where are we today? What is to mention for today? So one thing is we can celebrate actually today the 10-year, today or this year, the 10-year anniversary of T2S. And T2S, one could say amongst all our projects and platforms, this is was the biggest endeavor now, because security settlement is complex. It's a big industry, and we have achieved with T2S, I think, a great deal of integration and harmonization in post-trade in Europe, where we came from a very fragmented system, no? And so we have organized that in a way to integrate, make it more efficient, but preserve the ecosystem of CSDs. And one other feature I would like to mention that we have pursued now consistently, or even before Vision 2020, is the multi-currency ability of target services. So the pioneer in this was T2S, and Denmark joining T2S in Danish kroner at an early stage. And in the meantime, Denmark is completely on target services in T2, T2S, and TIPS. T2 and TIPS very recently, one month ago. And Sweden uses TIPS now for a bit more than a year. So Sweden, let's say, pioneered the multi-currency feature of TIPS. And we have also, as was announced also by those central banks, Norway and Iceland interested in joining certain target services. And on top, let's say, of this multi-currency capability, not to be mixed up with it, the idea of cross-currency settlement, which we focus on for TIPS. And so for TIPS, we work with Denmark's Nationalbank and Sveriges Riksbank on a cross-currency settlement, meaning that you can make an instant or fast transfer using TIPS on both sides, and sending money in one currency and it arriving on an account in the other currency, which obviously requires an FX conversion. So that we have announced we are working on, and we hope to deploy that as of end of next year if everything goes well. And now looking, even more into the future, one thing that many of you have even participated to is the explorations last year of settlement in central bank money in the context of transactions recorded in DLT, so securities in DLT being then settled, delivery versus payment in central bank money. And here, we had those extensive explorations last year, and we came up recently then with an announcement to continue that work and to have two tracks, as we call them, a short-term solution track 1, and then a longer-term solution track 2. And very briefly, track 1 is about an interoperability solution, so somewhat, inspired by the exploration we had last year. So the settlement of, let's say, the security or other asset is on the DLT, and there is a link via an API, application programming interface, into target services for the DVP or PVP settlement in central bank money. So that we will host a dedicated focus session on that in June. And although interoperability solutions have also some weaknesses, we believed that this was the right approach because it can be delivered in a timely manner, relatively quickly, timeline to be announced in more detail because of the exploration we did last year and the experience we collected in the context of those explorations. And then the question is, what is the longer term solution? And that has a really question mark. So there, the work will be of truly maybe more analytical nature first, but then also should of course progress with hands-on work And the general idea behind it is that, contrary to interoperability solutions, integrated solutions, where an integrated DLT platform can host various players of this ecosystem and various assets, and fully deploy the possibilities then to have all those assets on one platform, and with smart contracts allowing, in principle, a lot of things to happen in the most efficient way. But that is at an earlier stage and constitutes what we call the track 2. And then another work stream that has been announced in October 2024 is the cross-border, improving cross-border payments through interlinking. I already mentioned the interlinking of currencies which are in TIPS, which we had announced earlier. But this one is new because it goes beyond Europe, it goes beyond TIPS. And we announced 3, let's say, pillars of this work. One is to explore if we can interlink with Nexus, which is a multilateral platform for connecting fast payment systems coming out of the BIS innovation hubs, and then to interlink with India's UPI system, a bilateral connection in view of the, let's say, advanced experience and practice of India in fast payments and in interlinking, and then also, using TIPS for other, connecting with other fast payment systems outside the euro area, relying essentially on the one leg out scheme and seeing what can be put on top of this without really a technical connection. And let's not forget, beyond all those new projects, if you want to call it like this, we have always the evolution, the continued evolution. We have regular new releases of all our target services, which come out, and those who are in the details, know about the change requests coming, and all the work that is behind also with the industry and the testing, etc. Then maybe a bit, more ambitious or more fundamental, even evolution, is the possible extension of operating hours of Target 2. There will be soon a public consultation where you will be invited to react, asking about your appetite, your needs in terms of extending T2 operating hours. We may all have this vision now that in the long term we all operate in real time 24/7 around the year, but on the other side, those who operate know that 24/7, 365 means also different working hours. No, and is it practical, or is there a point to keep market sessions concentrated? Because then also liquidity concentrates, and it's maybe more efficient to concentrate. So all those questions will be in very practical terms in this public consultation. Concluding remark, I already mentioned the industry is crucial for all that. We don't operate in a vacuum, and we don't want to offer services which are not demanded for, because we are committed to efficiency and to cost recovery. Target services operate under cost recovery, so users have to pay for it. So we are bound, let's say, by the logic of the market and what is useful, and that, of course, we rely on you to tell us. So we have all those governance structures of target services. On top, we have AMI-SECO, AMI-Pay, where we gather industry input to be fully aware of the needs of market developments and to respond then with the right offers that we as central banks for some reason are the right ones to supply to the market. Yeah. So you have been crucial to this journey that I summarized, and you will be crucial for the future journey. And we hope we always find the right structures to engage you and that we listen to you and get your points. So then, today's event, let me hand over now quickly. So we will have, I think, 4 sessions. One will be on non-bank, actually, payment service providers who will be able to join target T2 and TIPS in the future, thanks to the change of the settlement finality directive. Yeah, you see it on screen. Then we will have 1 session on TIPS in cross-border payments, and then on the T+1 initiative. Yeah, sorry, I haven't mentioned that one, but it is a very, very important initiative. And we have, we all, you and us have this deadline of 27 November 27 for moving from T+2 to T+1 in security settlement, and T2S plays there a role, of course. And in view of the complexity of Europe, that is far from trivial. That will be presented to you as well. So, and then we will have ECMS and now focus on the operational aspects of ECMS, because as mentioned, 16th of June is the go live date and the end date of Vision 2020, which is then in 2025. So thank you very much.